Well, welcome to our cutting edge apartment or our living space. Today, I just wanted to touch a little bit on situations where we have power outages and how do we move forward with that. We know many of our kiddos here are very dependent on technology as their form of leisure and recreation, and that's why honestly your occupational therapists are working very, very hard, even your PTs, on developing other types of leisure skills so that there's other types of interests your kiddos can take. We know that they all love their iPads and they all love the computer and they all love certain shows that they can watch, but we're constantly working on developing leisure skills so that when something like that happens where we don't have power, we have options. And I know with some of your kiddos that's going to be an easier thing. Even developing one additional leisure skill could take a year of working on it and finding awareness. So couple things to think about when you're in that situation is typically, like I've always said, your kiddos are going to respond to your reaction. So if you're freaking out, they're probably going to freak out. So my suggestion would be go in your closet, shut the door, and freak out alone, and then come out with a smile on your face and be creative and think of activities and things. I think we need to be ahead of the curve on this rather than behind the curve. So one activity I think is real fun is when there's no power and it's dark is let's pretend we're camping. Okay, so this is an idea. Let's put the tent up. Let's roll out sleeping bags and put in our heavy clothes and sit by the fire if you have a fire that can work, or whatever you have available to you, and make it into a game, make it into an activity. You know, that I like the expression, when life gives you lemons, you have to make lemonade out of it. So figure out something that might be fun for your kids to do, and that can vary depending. I don't care if you have flashlight tag, whatever you can do that's fun. Also, I know a lot of people really the only option they had was to do things like puzzles. So, or coloring by candlelight or whatever it is. Bring out those things that you think might work, but also it's better to start preparing for leisure interests ahead of time rather than introducing them in the middle of a crisis. So figure out things. I have clients that love to play Uno. You can play Uno for hours. You could just match cards by suit if that's what your kiddo's able to do. So talk to your therapist because they have great ideas to come up with that are leisure or games that your kiddos like that are preferred, and that will that way you can have those things on hand for when they happen, and make sure you don't forget where you put them. Typically I buy things and forget where I put them in the house, so have them available to be there. And also things like if your kiddo's a picky eater, don't ever run out of that item. Make sure you always have a bag or two available so that when something happens and that you can't get that item, you have it there. We really want to try to prepare for those things. Just like I've talked about in preparing for trips, we plan for those things. I'm not saying there's always going to be an outage, but we never know when we're going to not have power. So you can also make sure you download favorite movies on iPads because you don't have to have power to play those. So those are a few ideas, but talk to your therapist because they have some awesome ideas to share with you.